Hi, thank you very much for coming. We're very excited that you could be here when you could have been anywhere else on a Friday evening. I am joined by two of the artists who took part in Artistic Encounters, Litafrika 2, Literature of the African Continent. We have with us online Ondjaki from Angola, and next to me we have Virgília Ferrão. And our topic today is Beyond English, what it means to be a writer from Africa, where too often the Western gaze with narrative deems African writing as that written in English. I suppose I would really like to start by saying at the back, we've got texts. For those of you who read English, and I think we have it in Portuguese as well, if you just like to take a look at them. And Ondjaki is going to start reading from his part, so you know what it is that he has actually contributed to this particular exhibition, which we will see later when we finish this conversation. Mr. O, take it away.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'll be reading in Portuguese, but if you want to follow, there is the English version and the German version. O cego desmanchou-se numa gargalhada tão minúscula que realmente parecia o contra-exercício de um ator profissional, um riso bonito e sem som, como um vulto ou sombra de sol nenhum. Eu até nunca vi desses filmes de mal criado que vão passar aqui com estrangeiras a gritar e tudo. Já ouvi assim de estar longe num bairro, mas dizer que vi, nunca vi mesmo. O cego voltou ao lugar, abanando a cabeça de um lado para o outro, de um modo contente, ainda inacreditando nas palavras que acabara de proferir. A postura dos outros era de maior respeito e, ao regressar, o vendedor de concha ajudou-o a sentar-se. Paizinho, João devagar falou forte. Sigas para o palco. Mas eu, tio João, sigas. Aqui não há discriminação de mais novo. Largou os panos e sentiu claramente que não sabia onde pôr as mãos. Evitou estar de pé, tentou sentar-se, sentiu um ardor nos olhos que o levou a buscar o céu, olhou para cima, estendeu a pausa do seu silêncio pesado e quando finalmente fixou a audiência, era outra pessoa. Se for de falar assim, a voz era outra, então mesmo é só no assunto da guerra e da minha mãe. Que a guerra, quando ela me assustou de cair, eu já estava a correr, no ar dançavam ruídos, e eu, que nem deu de voltar em casa, para ver se os meus irmãos tinham quê? A voz, que era outra, falhava. De correr mesmo com a fome e a sede e as feridas nos pés, que depois andámos com um comandante, até hoje que nem me lembro de quantos quilômetros, só de dias, que foram muitos. O tom, que era desconhecido, tornava-se demasiado próximo. E que até para dizer a verdade, que de noite ainda estou a sonhar com esses dias de uma coisa que sempre me acontece de repetir no sonho, quando eu lhe sonho à noite, e que é, assim de falar nas palavras, a coisa que eu não consegui de gritar. Eu não consegui de gritar o nome da minha mãe, que até hoje ando a lhe procurar. Voltou a pegar no seu pano de limpar as coisas, sentou-se lá atrás, recuperando a respiração, voltando ao lugar de onde ainda não tinha conseguido regressar. A mim me chamam só de vendedor de conchas. Para falar aqui assim, de falar mesmo, não é de abuso, nem de falar à toa. É que eu ando a aprender muito com o mais velho cego. Uma pessoa, quer dizer, nunca se ajuda sozinha. Se tem um outro próximo dele, uma pessoa às vezes não é só de ser ajudada, é que também faz bem no coração ajudar o outro. Não estou a falar da minha boca, estou a falar coisas que o mais velho cego é que me falou. É que às vezes ele também não sabe que fala de noite, a dormir. Então a cidade de Luanda é isso, que uma pessoa assim anda a se desenrascar na venda das conchas, atacar as madamas que têm mais dinheiro. Se não tem dinheiro, a gente pode ainda fazer negócio de troca. E nas moças bonitas é mesmo de oferecer. Mas a pessoa, o que é importante mesmo assim é estar bem, feliz. Coisa que eu lembro desde o início, é que gosto de mergulhar e vender conchas. A que anda que me protege. O Donato sentiu que teria de falar, levantou-se devagar, mirando as suas próprias mãos, deslocando-se com a lenta velocidade de um condenado tímido, havia entendido e incorporado as regras do jogo, e na curta caminhada procurou tirar da mente a ideia da profunda apreensão que sentia em relação ao filho. Ajeitou-se na cadeira e continuou a mirar as mãos, levando a assistência a fazer o mesmo. Ergueu-as, ambas, virando-as para a plateia como quem exibe parte da sua intimidade. Uma leve brisa fez dançar as antenas mais antigas e despertou o galo de zarolho no outro prédio. Shhh, dorme lá, pá. Ainda não é de madrugada, ó vizinho. Quero lá desculpar as intrometências do Galo Camões, nossa mascote cinematográfica. E João devagar calou-se. Primeiro foram as mãos, as pontas dos dedos. Não é que fosse assim de ficar transparente no corpo, como eu agora estou mesmo a ficar. E vê-se, no início, as mãos é que ficaram mais leves. E as dores de estômago desapareceram. O Donato virou as mãos para si mesmo e falava olhando só para elas. Um homem, para falar dele mesmo, fala das coisas do início, como as infâncias e as brincadeiras, as escolas e as meninas, a presença dos tugas e as independências. E depois, coisa de ainda há pouco tempo, veio a falta de emprego e de tanto procurar e sempre a não encontrar trabalho, o homem para de procurar para ficar em casa a pensar na vida e na família. No alimento da família. Para evitar as despesas, come menos. Um homem come menos para dar de comer aos filhos, como se fosse um passarinho. E aí me vieram as dores de estômago e as dores de dentro, de uma pessoa ver que na crueldade dos dias, se não tem dinheiro, não tem como comer ou levar um filho ao hospital. E os dedos começaram a ficar transparentes, e as veias, e as mãos, os pés, os joelhos, mas a fome foi passando. Foi assim que comecei a aceitar as minhas transparências. Deixei de ter fome e me sinto cada vez mais leve. Estes são os meus dias, e voltou a olhar cada um nos olhos, incluindo o cego. Este é o corpo que eu agora tenho. Levantou-se para voltar ao seu lugar, fez-se sentir o silêncio. Meus amigos, João devagar não conseguia esconder a emoção. Não sei como agradecer. Não é da ajuda de virem aqui, arrumar o nosso cinema da oitava arte, é mesmo do contributo de gente humana. O mundo há de saber que aqui no terraço do nosso querido prédio em Luanda, hoje, a esta hora, um grupo de homens testemunhados por um galo que não vê lá muito bem, hoje, esse grupo de homens fez teatro. Teatro à moda antiga, à moda dos duros, porque só os grandes homens choram na companhia solitária de outros homens. Ele cruzou as mãos no peito. Fim de citação, meus amigos. Boas noites e sejam felizes. Should I go on, or is that enough?
Maybe you could just skip towards the end.
Yeah, let's go there. Yeah.
I kind of think that's really a relevant path to the text.
Let's start for almost in the end when
Odonato.
Odonato is talking with someone on the phone, or with his wife, but I think it's on the phone now. No, it's with the wife. Almost in the end, he's talking about his son. And the wife asks that, she knows that the son is there. And she's asking him if the guard who keeps there, he said something else. He said he could spoke with one of the guards that sleeps there, something like that. E então, querem dinheiro? Não, parece que não. Querem quê? Amanhã eu falo com a Maria com força para ela te preparar uma cesta. Mas os guardas querem quê? Bife com batata frita. Disseram que se levares a mais, eles dão o resto ao teu filho. Filhos da puta. É a vida. Ainda bem para nós, porque bife com batata frita acho que consigo arranjar. Agora, se pedissem dinheiro, era bem pior. Tens razão. O Donato encostou o seu corpo ao de Chiles Baba. Ela sentiu-se mais a si do que a ele. Também estás mais leve. Estou. Nato, tens de comer, filho. Chiles Baba suplicava. Não tenho de comer, Baba. Não comer só me tem feito bem. Já te expliquei. Deixei de sentir dores no estômago. Sinto-me melhor. Penso melhor. Talvez vocês também pudessem experimentar. Já falamos sobre isso, Nato. Todos, menos as crianças. Está bem. O Donato voltou à berma do prédio, olhou o céu de Luanda, viu o galo esconder-se, depois ficou imóvel, de corpo suado e hirto, como uma estátua bem esculpida. A verdade é ainda mais triste, Baba. Nós não somos transparentes por não comer. Nós somos transparentes porque somos pobres.
Obrigada, camarada.
Thank you.
I think we're going to get that as well. You'll just go the way you like, Virgilia, and please just let everybody know where the translation is.
Okay.
As well, those who are following.
Okay.
And I'm really doing this because one of the things that I was interested in when I was curating this is the beauty of the different languages and getting to know literature in Africa, as I mentioned, beyond just English. So beyond Zukiswa and Chimamanda and so forth and so on. I wanted us to go beyond that.
Okay, thank you, Zukiswa. Hello, everyone. I'm going to start the reading. So in Portuguese is in page 22. The translation in, I have the booklet in English, it's in page 29. O sol também se põe. Olhei para o relógio. 3 da manhã. A mão que segurava a caneta tremia. Havia um papel e cálice de vinho ao meu lado. Ele amargava como uma noite de maus augúrios. Transformava os meus lábios em argila. Nunca fora de beber de madrugada e cá entre nós, ao que tudo indicava, vocação zero para Autor. Não sabia fazer da dor uma poesia. Lancei a caneta para o chão. Nem para escrever bêbada servia. Era perfeitamente inútil. Havia mudado de casa. Tiziane e eu morávamos agora no centro da cidade. Era um apartamento simples, mas aconchegante. A minha irmã precisava de estar mais perto de seu pequeno ateliê. Naquele momento, ela não se encontrava no país. Recebera patrocínio para fazer uma curta formação de moda. Ela e mais 3 jovens em Milão. Isso depois de ter sido a única moçambicana convidada para apresentar uma coleção num dos maiores eventos de moda do mundo, São Paulo Fashion Week. Imaginava que a minha irmã fosse longe, mas não tanto. Tiziane era uma estrela e eu continuava a ser uma das suas maiores admiradoras. Outra coisa. Havíamos reconectado com o vovô Lobrino. Ele não é mais um enigma na minha vida. Pela primeira vez, viu quando desceu a Maputo para consolar a filha pela perda do marido. Vovô Lobrino reconciliou-se com a filha Teresa. Segundo ele, era algo que não mais podia ser adiado. Vovô Lobrino também levantou a mão e a voz para defender-me dos familiares que me acusaram de trazer azar para casa. Seus irmãos parecem bem encaminhados, Laila. Danilo tem alta patente lá no exército, certo? Tiziane tão nova e já viajando pelas Europas. E você é minha neta? O velho falava assim porque não tinha estado a acompanhar a luta de cada um para cavar esperança em lugares onde os olhos não lubricam. Tiziane vencera porque se esforçara para manter-se sempre em forma, de modo a saltar cada barreira da vida. Danilo também estava bem em Vilanculos de férias, a passear com a namorada. Apesar de tudo, nunca o vira tão feliz. O sofrimento, às vezes, apresenta-se como um véu de luz. Não sei em que momento ele descortinou, se foi quando ela se sentou diversas vezes ao seu lado, calada, segurando-lhe a mão. Se foi nos inúmeros abraços, enquanto ele furtivamente chorava pelo pai. A verdade é que Danilo dispensara a Francisca mais uma vez, E compreendendo que não quisesse nenhum outro abraço, senão de Jamila, pediram-lhe que considerasse dar-lhe uma nova chance. Abracei a medicina, vovô, e estou muito contente. Percebi, entretanto, o significado do olhar prostrado do velho. Desgosto, por ter levado eu o pior dos lubrinos, o lado da magia. De todos, você é a mais parecida com a sua mãe, sabia? Não era um elogio. E a minha assunção foi corroborada por aquilo que ele disse a seguir. Temo por você, Laila. A fumaça do cacimbo abrasava-lhe os lábios e pairava-se-lhe na face. É um mundo difícil esse que você se encontra. Pode até ser uma bênção, mas estarás cercada de perigos, sempre. Eu ouvi coisas que não passariam pela sua cabeça. Sua bisavó meteu-se nisso. Deixou a família, viajou pelo mundo e acabou sozinha. Tenho medo que você termine assim. E não se pode ser feliz na solidão, minha neta. É verdade isso? Está a rejeitar-me de novo, vovó? Minha querida neta. Ele coçou a barba, entrelaçando os dedos enrugados na nuca antes de expelir o fumo por cima do ombro. Nunca rejeitei vocês. Sabia que eu mandei cartas? Sua mãe é muito orgulhosa. Devia ter regressado à terra, ter ido ter conosco há anos, mas nunca o fez. Se eu tivesse continuado à espera, morreria sem que pudéssemos estar em paz. Apenas digo o que lhe digo porque quero o seu bem. Pense sobre o que está a fazer com a sua vida. Aquela conversa martelou sobressaltos na minha cabeça durante vários dias. Não faltava muito para terminar o curso. Já estava no 5º ano e esperava que um dia não muito longe pudesse provar ao meu avô que estava redondamente enganado. Eu podia e iria ser muito feliz sozinha, sim senhor, muito obrigada. Não que eu quisesse a completude, não me interprete mal. Só que tudo isso, essa tal completude, me soava muito distante. As pessoas esperam pelo amanhã para verem as coisas acontecerem, para respirarem, e acabam por ver as coisas terminarem sem sequer terem respirado. Gostava da Laila que via no espelho. Era feliz com ela, embora partes dela tivessem morrido e outras doessem. Sentia-me mais segura do que nunca de que tinha escolhido o curso certo. Amava a medicina e principalmente as possibilidades infinitas que me cercavam. Às vezes, um simples paracetamol e azitromicina funcionavam e curavam a doença. Era apenas uma malária da parte da natureza. Mas outras vezes as pessoas carregavam coisas estranhas nos seus corpos. E o paracetamol não conseguia agir sozinho. Cheguei a salvar algumas vidas. Eis um episódio recente. Tinha ido ao hospital fazer doação de sangue enquanto aguardava a coleta. Sentia uma energia forte a empurrar-me para a aula dos cuidados intensivos. Foi um tremendo choque ver aquele doente sem forças para lutar, nem para aceitar a tépida colher de sopa que lhe ofereciam. E eu tinha provável razão no seu rosto. Há algumas semanas, no meu sonho, vi-o sendo roído pelo roedor. Sim, continuava a ver o roedor e outras tantas pessoas a serem roídas. A senhora que tentava alimentar o doente virou-se. Um enfermeiro passou por mim trazendo a medicação e deixou-me entrar. Sei que não me conhecem, sou estudante de medicina, mas posso pegar na sua mão? Gostaria de orar por si. Mestre Capri e Isaac já me tinham ensinado a remover o mal causado por um roedor. Exigia 2 passos. Primeiro um salmo, depois um toque. O toque era essencial, misturado com o bálsamo. Preparado especialmente para isso. Dava imenso trabalho elaborá-lo. No fim, as palavras pronunciadas ou mastigadas. Segurei firme na mão do doente, uma gentil esfregada e outra para o preparado penetrar. E concluí que você se sinta melhor e se recupere depressa.
Should I finish or? Yeah, just okay.
O homem movimentou-se sobre os lençóis suados como se tivesse as costelas quebradas. Oh! A brisa que rasava umedeceu os seus olhos. Muito obrigado pelo seu gesto, pela oração. Estou emocionado. Enquanto caminhava para fora do quarto, ouvi o doente pedindo a colher de sopa. Detive-me à porta e passei um dedo pelo rosto para enxugar a sorrateira lágrima. Sabia que dali em diante todos os medicamentos receitados pelo médico iam funcionar. Sabia também que o roedor estava com raiva dos meus dotes. Acabava de libertar uma vítima sua, é evidente. Ele estava a perseguir-me e eu a persegui-lo. Conquanto por ter tomado meu pai, eu não pretendia descansar até que descobrisse a sua aparência. Prosseguia sem saber a razão de estar conectado ao roedor. Mestre Capri achava que podia ser uma ligação sanguínea. Zac julgava ser algo errado que eu tivesse feito. Menalda suspeitava ser alguém que não gostava de mim. De qualquer forma, para mim, tanto fazia. Queria apenas desvendar o seu rosto. Tentei todos os encantamentos, mas ele ou ela era bastante forte. Tinha truques, era ardiloso, sabia como esconder a sua identidade. Tratava-se de uma batalha perigosa e cedo ou tarde um de nós ia perder, sem margem de dúvidas. À medida que o tempo passava, percebia-me de que estava a ficar forte e perto de descobrir a identidade por detrás do roedor. Os olhos dele ou dela eram muito familiares, mas tal bicho sabia como me deprimir, como me quebrar ininterruptamente. Pelo no primeiro dia de férias, ao cabo do primeiro semestre. Preparava-me para um merecido descanso. Depois de algumas margaritas com Jamila e Menalda, fora dormir, ansiando por um sono relaxado. E eis que a porta aguardava-me. Vi a próxima vítima deitada na cama, sendo completamente roída. Tentáculos frios agarraram e feriram o meu coração. Marcelo.
Thank you very much. This was probably one of the easiest panels for me to ever put up. Not just because both of you write in Portuguese, but this particular books, these particular novels have a bit of the magical and fantastical in both your works, despite one having been written, published in 2012, and another 10 years later. Can you perhaps tell our audience what your creative process was? Particularly, I'm very interested in the fact that even though it's fantastical, it's very much rooted in the reality of Mosambik, of Angola, of any African country. Ondjaki, maybe we start with you.
Okay. Yes, I think that if you don't know Luanda, but maybe, as you said, some other African cities, I think you might think it's a lot of fiction, but it's not that much fiction. Other than the fact that, that family, Donato, becomes really, really transparent. I mean, he loses density and weight. But other than that, I think everything that happens in the book, it's some sort of, I'm not saying it's the reality. That's not what I meant to do. What I meant to say is that incredible things happen every day. Incredible good things also happen every day. So why wouldn't our politicians make incredible, nice things happen to their own people? As if we as human beings, I'm not part of the government, but I believe we are all partially guilty for the government we have. So we have to keep voting, we have to keep fighting to improve our government, no? But I think it's always, if it's bad and big, we cry. And if it's good and big, it never comes from the government. Sometimes it comes from nature, sometimes it comes from people. That's what I was trying to say. And that's why in that sentence, when the wife says, "You're so transparent, you need to eat again," and he says, "We are not transparent," or "I am not transparent because I'm not eating. I am transparent because I'm poor." As in, we become invisible for some people. And when I wrote the book, what I meant was that, there should not be invisible people in the eyes of those who are in charge of our countries. That's
Thank
what
you.
I meant.
Over to you, same question, 10 years later.
Okay, well, that's interesting because I think I have always liked the fantasy realm, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring a story that it sets in our reality, in the reality of Mozambique and of what happens to most of the people. And if I remember, one of the facts that I found it interesting when I was having a chat with one of our writers, Paulina Shizian, maybe you've heard of her, or some of you might have. We were discussing one of her stories, and she gave an example when she heard one of the projects that I was working on, and she said, well, if you notice, some stories from the Occident, like Harry Potter, when they write it, it's fantasy. But if you do the same story in Mozambique, it will be called witchcraft and evil. So yeah, she said you have to be very brave to be writing these stories. Yeah, so I think it's a good adventure to tell the stories that we want to hear from our perspective, and not what other people are saying or they're writing about us. So we want to tell the stories, what we think is our reality and what we want to portray. So that's one of the reasons I decided to explore the fantasy, although as you said it, it's set in a very realistic
Setting.
Yeah.
Which probably leads me to ask a follow-up question to that, because you also then did like a whole collection of like fantastical stories from writers who wrote in English and Portuguese, and you did translations. And why could you just be like, okay, I'll just talk to people from Angola and Sao Tome and Principe and Mozambique and Cabo Verde, and we'll be done? Why was it important to you to then have this conversation across the linguistic borders, if you will?
Yeah, well, I think that just in the same, in the same view that you had for this exhibition, it's very important to communicate between us and to explore the different literatures that is produced in other languages. So even from Mozambique or Lusophony context, we tend to be close, and it's difficult to have access to the other authors in the different languages. So I thought it was a good opportunity to have these conversations between the authors from different countries, because we are in the same continent and we have to know the work of each other. And that also helps us together collectively to portray outside of the continent what is the work that is being done. So, and I think we should do this more often, like you were doing. Yeah.
Perhaps same question to you, Ondjaki, because you have set up a publishing company, Kachimbo, and one of your key things has been translating as well across the languages. And you're not, as would normally happen, translate the so-called classics. So you're not translating Chinua Achebe, for instance.
Not yet.
You seem to be more keen on translating.
My brothers in Mozambique are doing that, so it's okay. So that's a good idea, actually, because when Jesse Muse, for example, a publisher from
Italy,
when he publishes Soyinka, for example, or Ngugi, we in Angola we can have his books there and read them, because it's Portuguese as well. So we've started with a translation in Kachimbo by a certain South African author from English to Portuguese.
Oh,
but
all right.
what we really want to do something also what we call the neighbors, you know. So most probably the next translation will be Remis from Namibia, and the Congos and someone from Zambia too. That would be I think just to warm up with the neighbors. I'm talking about Angola. We have specific relationships with the other countries that speak Portuguese, as in Mozambique. It's not so close to us, but it is close culturally. And we consider all the countries in Africa that speak Portuguese, we call them cousins. So the others are cousins too, but these are like, it's very fast to go to São Tomé or Cape Verde and speak Portuguese. But I think one of the important things are two things. One, do something that I learned from you, Zuki, which is the importance of reading other African authors. Not because, just because we get to know more, maybe it's good, maybe it's better, maybe it's not so good. But once you find a very good African author, you can start spreading the word instead of just spreading the word of other countries and other literatures. That's the one thing. And the other is that we are starting to do that, but we have to do more, as Virgilia was saying, meetings, translations, and promote debates or physically encounters between our countries in Africa. Of course, we are in the southern part. We can do like the southern area, but we can also exchange with other countries. I think that's very important. I think we, the artists, the writers, are starting to doing that. But our governments, they have to follow that idea too, I think.
You're really gonna rely on SADC.
No, not rely, but one of the things that SADC should exist for
is the cultural.
Not only the driver's license or the swimming championships, but also literature, I think. Specific funds. Why don't we have specific funds? If a country from the SADC would publish another country, maybe the government could help either with the translation or the printing part, something like that.
Yeah, but the problem is you guys write too many things that are anti-government, Why do you want the government to fund?
No. I think they're doing much better with that now. They are, not so,
that is, yeah.
not so nervous anymore.
So now, after this project, what are you doing, Virgilia? Have you set up a publishing house? Are we expecting more writing from you, or are you just going to hang up the writing for a little bit? And the same question to you too, Ondjaki. Now that you have Kachimbo and a bookstore, Kiela, are you concentrating on more the literary activism and you're forgetting the writing, or what can we expect?
Let's hear Virgilia first, so she can give us some ideas.
But I think just before answering your question, Ondjaki is right when he says that we need support from the government as well. And I say that because of the initiatives that we are trying to make. So culturally, many actors are involved, the artists, the writers, and the readers, but we need also support from the government. I think it's important to have strong, let's say, policies for book promotions and everything. I'm planning to...
Maybe I'm a little cynical, sorry to interrupt, but I've always thought that the one thing that a lot of governments don't want really a literate society, because if you're literate, you ask questions.
I think it's one of, well, sometimes it happens, but we have to take advantage of some breakthroughs that they leave us once in a while. And for some names, they can't do that anymore. You see, for example, if Pepetela in Angola publishes something, if Mia Couto or Paulina Chiziane in Mozambique, if they say something, they cannot pretend they're not listening.
They haven't said anything.
Maybe me and other guys that, but not the big ones, they have to. So, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, and we have to fight that. We have to fight that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, okay. Going to your question in terms of projects, I think I want to continue this the publication involving many authors from several countries. So the second volume of this book is coming, and I intend to also try to publish other books by other authors, and I will say this public. I told you before, but I want to
say it publicly now.
Publish her book, so yeah, that's one of my biggest desires. So yeah, I think I want to continue to work with as many authors from different countries as possible, because I think it's very important to have this style. Yeah.
Over to you.
I am, yes, I'm not sure I'm abandoning, but I feel I have less time because writing, it's also about waiting for the correct moment to write. And I used to have some time while I was waiting to read and to prepare myself for the next project. Now I don't have that free time anymore. When I have free time, I'm working either in the bookstore, Kiela, or in Kasimbu, the publishing house. So, but it's okay. I understand that for me right now that I have to do this, I'm not sure how long can I do this on this rhythm, on this specific pace I'm using right now. But it's okay, because we do something, we are creating a team, and once the team is ready, I can go back to
Wrap up a little bit.
more writing and just I just want people to work with me on these. I don't have the need to be the only publisher in my publishing house. No, I want to prepare and invite people to come and work. Only that, because it's me, I can work with no salary, and I don't think people will want to work without any salary. So let's see how it goes.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because we actually have Suleiman Adebowale in the audience, and he is with a Malian in Dakar, and he's saying, So at least we know that we have somebody in each language group. So maybe some magic can continue happening.
Exactly.
In the translations that you both have done, did you feel that something was uniquely maybe like Anglophone, or did you feel that these were the sort of stories that could even translate and would be interesting in Lusophone, in your part of the language group, if you will, culturally?
You mean our books or the books we are translating into our language?
The books you're translating into your languages. How are you selecting them?
Yeah, well,
and the stories that you've got.
Yeah, the one I translated, where we translated, it's yours. It's a book from Zukiswa, and we did it at the same time. We did it together with for the people who don't know, we did it at the same time in Mosambik and Angola. So it's a collective project. It's a collective translation. So lots of work on the Mozambique side. Then we did the final version and the adaptation for some of the Angolan Portuguese. One feedback that I'm getting from Luanda, just for you and the public to know, which is very interesting, is that actually it is the first translation that I'm aware of that we did with the Angolan accent flavor. Not only the accent, but some of the words we use. A compromise between Angola and Mozambique, because it was going to be the same version in Angola and Etale in Mozambique. But people, for example, are crazy about that. I see them reading the book and they laugh because they had not seen before in Angolan literature translated into. There is not an Angolan Portuguese. It's the Angola. Well, there is an Angolan Portuguese, of course, but it's our version. It's our tendency of, and I think people are very happy with that. I'm very happy with the result. I see young people reading your book, and I see them smiling, and I know that they're smiling because they're sensing like there is an Angolan voice talking to them, and we are more used to the translations coming from Portugal or Brazil. And we feel it if the translator is from Portugal or from Brazil. There's no problem. But this time we have your book in a much more Angolan, not only the accent and the words, but as you know, I think we also did some cultural adaptation, and that is very good. That is very good, I think.
Okay, and the stories that you did in there, I know you had like quite a few stories from writers from Nigeria, Malawi, etc. You know, did they resonate? Could you? Oh, this is something that a Mozambican would be like, oh, the same thing. That scares me.
Yeah, well, I have to say that it was a challenge. This was the first project, and yeah, first because of the type of stories that we were exploring in Mozambique in particular. People or the readers are not used to this. Let's say, we were trying to bring more like the fantastic, including science fiction and Afrofuturism. So this is still new, at least, although the English-speaking countries, the authors from there are more familiar with these genres, but from us it's still new. So this was one of the challenges. And even regarding the translation, it was also it was a good experience, and I thought it interesting what Ondjaki was saying, and that's something for me to think about the specific context and the cultural audience. One of the authors, not from this one, but from the second one, she was relative to for us to translate because she was scared of what we would be doing. She said that she doesn't trust many translators because they don't get the jokes, as you were saying, and the local context. I was happy that she accepted our invitation to be part of the project. So I think it's very important to be very accurate with the translation, but also bringing the context that resonates, with the readers.
We don't have much time anymore, so if there's anybody in the audience who would like to ask our two writers any questions, please, this is your time. I don't have many, we really don't have much time, so please keep it short if you have questions. Anybody has questions for Ondjaki or for Virgília on this project, on their writing?
Or even for you. How many writers in this project?
We've got 8 writers and we've got 8 other artists. So 3 visual artists, 3 musicians, and 2 actresses.
Is it today the opening, right? After this?
Yes, immediately after this. Well, not immediately, but 30 minutes later. Yeah. But you can catch it on YouTube after you finish your thing, eh?
I can try to get a bus from Lisbon to Zurich.
You see, it's never too late. Any questions? Anybody? Yeah, Suleiman.
I don't have a question on that encouragement, if I put it that way. I think you're doing both Ondjaki and
Virgília.
And Ondjaki is from Angola, and am I right? And he's a publisher and he's also a writer. And Virgília is also
and a bookstore owner.
And a bookstore owner. Yeah. So we have to link up in order to sell our books. My name is Suleiman Adibowale, and I'm based in Dakar, Senegal. I own a publishing company called Amalion. And what we do, we publish sciences and humanities. We also publish literature, and basically publish authors from all over the continent, Africa. I think we will also be authors based outside Africa, but the subject must be on Africa. And I think what you're doing is, and we do translation. Translation is a key element in terms of our work. We buy rights from French into English and from English into French as well. And what strikes me most about what you do, and which we've also experienced as well. The company was founded in 2009, so we are getting about 14 years now. So, is that, and this is where what you do comes in, and why what you do is important. Don't assume that somebody else is going to do it for you. Yeah, because they would. There are so many publishers based in Europe and North America, they are far richer, or maybe even there are some very rich subsidiaries of the big publishers in Latin America as well. But what you are interested in spreading, the content you are interested in sharing among your people, they are not interested in, to be honest with you. And what they are interested in most times are things they consider, quote unquote, Africa, they want to disseminate in North America and Europe. And we all know the whole process of content generation in terms of trying to push writers to write in that agenda, the whole creative writing, scholarship training mechanisms and all that to write what they feel is about Africa. So if you see a book somewhere, an African author published somewhere, we can't just assume that somebody is going to snap it and will publish it in another language. Maybe we'll publish it in French, or we'll publish it in Portuguese, or maybe we'll publish it. It won't happen. There are so many excellent literature from African authors. They've been published more than 30, 40 years ago, they've never been translated. That's a reality. Who gets translated is just a small, minute number of people that have maybe won awards that they can get into school books, textbooks to sell, and what have you. And at times, when you wake up to say you want to translate something, they realize they have that book in their list. They've never thought about it before. Because they have so much title with them, which they are not translating. And because it's not really their market, it's not really their so there is a lot of background research work that needs to be done, a lot of investigative research work in fact, to try and find out a whole bunch of books out there by African authors, published already by European and North American publishers, that are just sitting there somewhere, they never get translated. And it's so there's an opportunity there. There are cost implications to this. There are extreme cost implications. You know, the whole process of trying to translate and trying to sell the book at a price that is inconvenient for the markets as well. And when you have translation costs, it's a big obstacle. But the key, I don't know where we'll be going with this, machine translation and all that. It's terrible, and because we're talking about literal translation here, and some things so easy, just put the books in DL and all that view, and you've got your. Of course not. You don't. Somebody has to read it, somebody has to revise it, and somebody has to do some work. And it's tremendous what you're doing. I really, really appreciate what you're doing. And we'll need to do it all over Africa like that. I'm excited in knowing about your work and seeing what can we do from our end in West Africa, from Senegal in particular, to us. I'm interested in, I was telling Virgília today, what's interesting, I'm interested in what's happening, what's happening in Southern Africa, what's happening in South Tome and Principe. I'm interested in what's happening. I'm tired of to know about what's happening in Nigeria. I'm tired to know about what's happening in Kenya or South Africa. Because they're the usual suspects.
Oh, don't tire. Why you say tire?
There is beauty in diversity. There's beauty in finding out something new, discovering new way of seeing Africa and way of seeing the world. And so congratulations for what you do.
Thank you very much for that, Suleiman. Technically, amongst all of us, with 14 years of publishing experience, you then become a veteran. So we're going to be like veteran publisher, Suleiman Adebowale. Thank you very much for that word of wisdom, and I think we'll obviously learn from each other. I certainly was, when I was in Dakar, telling you about what Ondjaki was doing, and I was telling Ondjaki the same when I was in Angola. I'm just like trying to drop the fact that I'm always all over the continent.
That's a good thing.
But anyway, all right. No, but any other questions before we let Ondjaki go? on this day of the African child, June 16. It's actually a day in the UN calendar, but then the UN has like a lot of days. But yeah, June 16 is Day of the African Child.
Zooks.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that it's just a tiny coincidence. Yesterday, I've been working in a new book for children, young adults, adults. I don't know the name. And yesterday after midnight, I was able to finish it, and I'm very happy with the result. So I'm very happy that it was today that I finished it. So next year or so, when it comes out, we'll remember this. I think there was a beautiful thing in Angola when I was a kid. The 1st of June, it's like the International Children's Day or whatever, used to be a holiday, and they don't do it that anymore. And I really thought it was so beautiful that a country would make a holiday on the Children's Day, or this day, which is the African. Yeah, so I'm just saying, I think it should be not necessarily a holiday, but we should.
I'm very excited to hear about this new project.
Yeah.
Let's discuss translation.
Yes.
When we get off live.
Yes.
And Suleiman, here is, let's discuss translation when we get offline.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments? We have only a few more minutes left. What are you working on? He's just told us that he finished a book yesterday. Today.
Precious.
It's a privilege.
Yeah. I'm also.
I mean, your book did actually come out in 2022, so
Yeah.
we can let you go for like 5 years.
Thank
right?
you.
But
Yeah, she has time. She has time. Yes.
Yeah, but other than those anthologies, I'm working on this book that it's in the exhibition. The plan is to be a trilogy, so I've been writing the second one.
okay.
So let's see.
Oh well,
So,
congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. I take it there are no more questions or comments. Well, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just wanted to we are now in the German part of Europe, and I hear it again and again, and I know what you said, the answer to this question again, but I heard it again a few days ago, that people here always think we have to translate from original African languages. You know, that is now the project in Berlin. I heard about the project. They want to translate from Yoruba or from Kiswahili or whatever. And I know the last time when you were here, you said this question about the African languages. They are asked, you were asked, and only here in Europe, because it's for you also which the languages you are treating now here is Portuguese, French, and English, and it is important to see them as African languages. But here you always hear them talking about African languages, not the native language.
I think the best response to that one was when I was at the Hay Festival, and somebody, posed that question, don't you feel that you are betraying your, what you call it, you're not writing in your African language? And then I answered them in Xhosa, and then they didn't hear what I said. So the point of language is to communicate, I think. And what Ondjaki was just saying about there is an Angolan Portuguese, just like there is a Nigerian English and a South African English and a Kenyan English. Zimbabwean writer Shima Chinoja calls it colonizing the colonial language, I think is the phrase he uses. But I do appreciate if somebody does decide that they want to translate Yoruba or Hausa or Kiswahili or isiZulu or Setswana or but we do have over 2,000 languages, and more power and more money to them, but yeah, that's going to be very interesting because first you'd also need to ensure that you are able to get the correct translation, because also language changes all the time. Language is a breathing, living thing, and the Xhosa that was spoken in 1950 is not the one that's spoken here, but if that's not the case, then are you able to get the person who's able to do it well? And who is your audience? Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, I just wanted to ask your audience, as you were asking, because I'm thinking about the African diaspora, and also I'm interested in that dialogue. And I wonder, because I totally love what you sharing in your work. I think it's very important to have this conversation within the African continent, but also I wonder what is your perspective on creating more dialogue also on in Africa and the African diaspora.
I think that's happening, and it's actually happening with this particular project, because our online, everything that's here is online with Uniperiferous in Brazil. They're the ones who've done it online, and they've added Spanish as another language. So we've got it. If you go on online Uniperiferous, it's they've got it in English, they've got it in Portuguese, they've got it in French, and they've got it in Spanish. So I think those dialogues are happening, and it's something that Ondjaki, we particularly started when we're doing Afro-Lit Sans Frontiers, and we started having writers. Initially, we'd started as Africa, and then we're like Africa and its diasporas. So we started having writers from Martinique, writers from the US, from Brazil, from all over. So that is certainly a dialogue that's happening constantly all the time, and where it's like, okay, we see you, we see each other. So definitely that's happening.
And how about the African diaspora?
Yeah, no. We had some people from Germany, and we had some people from the UK, even when we're doing that project. So we've had, I think, if you go online, you'll be able to see past conversations on that. So we certainly have that. And it's an ongoing dialogue, and we need to keep doing it. And I don't know whether there's any burning question now, because it's 6 and Ondjaki needs to go. Thank you very much for
I do.
Everybody. Okay, Ondjaki, last words, and Virgília, last words.
Yes, no, thank you so much for this beautiful project. I think it's also important to have this kind of representation showing in Europe as well. No problem at all. We should do this. We are showing, we are promoting our culture there. For example, in this case in Zurich, but also we should do it in Asia, for example, in the United States. I feel that Europe in the past years, they're starting more and more trying to fill us from within the continent, because they have lots of people in the, let's call it, African European diaspora. I think the United States have a good dialogue with African countries that speak English, but not so much with the French part.
Yeah.
So we're doing our job, and thank you so much to all of you for organizing and putting this together. Thank you.
And thank you for making the time and having me. Last words, Virgília?
Yeah, as Ondjaki said, it's an amazing project. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Zukiswa, for inviting me, and the organization. I really love what you're doing, what you all did. So, and I hope to see more projects like this in the future. Yeah. So thank you so much. And for everyone that is here.
Fantastic. And everybody who's watching, in 30 minutes time, we'll be back live as we do the tour of the Lit Africa 2 Artistic Encounters, and you get to meet all the artists that we have in this project, 16 of them. 8 of them are writers. Please join us in 30 minutes. Thank you.
Stop it.